Hi, this is a commentated replay of Marincess versus a meta deck opponent in Platinum for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I actually wanted to just upload this replay, but I thought that the gameplay in this round was particularly interesting and I wanted to talk over it. So I'm playing Marincess and I have the full combo in my hand. I'm going to summon Blue Tang and use this effect to pitch a Pascalis instead of a Mandarin because I want an extra Pascalis in the graveyard. I'm going to Ash away his Max C to allow me to combo in peace. Marincess is infamously very impervious to Ash Blossom because a lot of the searches being hit by Ash, this deck doesn't really care about. So I pitch a Pascalis and I'm going to use it to link one into Marincess Blue Slug. Marincess Blue Slug comes out, allowing me to fetch Pascalis back into my hand, and I'm also going to fire off the Blue Tang effect to excavate the top 3 searching for a card. This search can whiff and it changes functionally nothing, but very fortunately for me, I find a Marincess Wave. I add the Marincess Wave into my hand. I now use the Seahorse effect from my hand, special summoning into the zone pointed to by Blue Slug, after activating Cyanide Mining to search for one more extender in Mandarin. Seahorse goes onto the slot in Blue Slug, it's going to tribute itself to link summon into Marincess Sea Angel. Sea Angel is going to search out the field spell, which gives Marincess Omni Protection, to the same degree as Ultimate Falcon, but unlike Ultimate Falcon, it actually does something. Mandarins can special summon itself since I control 2 Marincess, and I use the extension to go into Marincess Crystal Heart, which is the protection engine required for Battle Ocean. Crystal Heart hits the field, and I'm going to use that into Link 2 Coral Anemone and use the Anemone effect to special summon Crystal Heart back from the graveyard. And that is 2 monsters at Link 2, allowing me to go into my Link 4 boss monster. That is the standard combo for Marincess, and I was able to get it off without interruption. The only thing that could really stop me here was Nibiru, and my opponent did not have it. So I go into Great Bubble Reef, attach 3 due to the effect of Battle Ocean, give it Omni Protection from all effects, and pass turn to my opponent. My opponent will have to act, but I have a Max C in my hand ready to respond to his turn, and if I can get him to pass his turn, I can just win this game for free. And at this point, my opponent makes his first play, and oh god, it is gonna be way worse. He is playing the meta deck Bird Up, so he is going to instantly go into Keras pitching Cobalt Sparrow, and I immediately panic, go to Max C. Unfortunately, my opponent has crossed out Designator to stop the Max C. So now he also gets the combo for free. However, he's going to start with Keras with no materials in the graveyard except for a Cobalt Sparrow, so that really can't do anything. He can't really go into Samorg, not that it will help, I already comboed. But he can't go into Shrek or he can't go into Access Code. He's also going to Barrel Canary, which means he can only XZ summon for the rest of the turn. He's going to fetch back Cobalt Sparrow, search for Celestine Wagtail, and then go into Recital Starling here. I fire off Marincess Wave because I can recruit it on the next turn. I did forget that you can't target Recital Starling, but it doesn't really matter. It's the protection I'm after. If they find a way to kill my Battle Ocean, I need a way to keep Great Bubble Reef alive, so I preemptively use the Wave. I can fetch this Wave back next turn using the Pascalis from my graveyard, so I'm not too bothered about losing the card. That was a misplay nonetheless. I was intending to hit the Surge on Recital before instantly remembering that Recital Starling can't be targeted by effects. He's going to go into a second Recital, but he has locked out the Link Summoning, so that means the scariest thing he could possibly end at here is going to be Utopic Draco Future. Utopic Draco Future doesn't really do anything. Great Bubble Reef is immune to all effects, including effect negation. So Great Bubble Reef can fire off, and Utopic Draco Future would just be wasting its materials. So Utopic Future comes down as a material for UDF as well. UDF is going to hit the field. Unfortunately, he can't run over my Great Bubble Reef. It's got 5,800 attack points, so he's just going to pass turn back to me. I check my graveyard. I have a lot of important cards in there that I don't want to lose, so I opt to not activate the standby for Great Bubble Reef. I instead pitch a card to try to resurrect something from my Banish Zone. He's going to try to negate it and then instantly learn that I am immune to everything. Great Bubble Reef is going to fetch back a Seahorse. I normal summon a Blue Tang, use it to pitch yet another Pascalis, and I'm trying to combo from here. My opponent uses 1 negate, so that means I can do whatever I want. I banish a Pascalis, fetch a Wave back into my hand for some Omni negation, and use a Silent Cena to special summon itself. Using 2 level 4s, I go into Bahama Shark, followed by Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome is going to be my Omni negate. It will die to Utopic Draco Future. However, my thinking is if I keep this Totally Awesome on the field, I can stop a follow-up Tri-Brigade play. If I wipe his field of Tri-Brigade, he is going to use Nerval to search for a Fractal, and I can negate the Fractal effect. So I can force my opponent to either bypass the main phase, run into Totally Awesome in the battle phase, or go for a Fractal play and have it be negated by Totally Awesome. And this way I can field a pretty formidable board. I make a second Coral Anemone using the recovery effects, use Coral Anemone special summon back Crystal Heart. This will not actually give me protection because Battle Ocean only protects monsters in the extra monster zone. So this Marble Rock is actually not impervious to all effects. However, Marble Rock allows me to fetch one Marincess back from my graveyard every single turn. I target a Seahorse for more protection. Marble Rock can discard any Marincess from my hand in order to stop one battle from happening. I destroy both of the Tri-Brigades, and I try to run into UDF. The one thing I did mess up on here is I should have 100% waved out the UDF to negate its protection from battle and just kill it. Unfortunately, I didn't do that, and UDF gets to stay for more fun times. I banish a card with Marincess Great Bubble Reef to draw a card and boost his attack a little bit. My opponent's going to fire off the Fractal to try to start a chain. I'm going to pitch away Totally Awesome, and I was so tunneled on making sure this effect goes through that I didn't really think about just waving Draco Future and killing it, but I am going to wave UDF now to try to negate all of his effects, which means Totally Awesome gets to fire off without a hitch. Totally Awesome will fire off in this chain because UDF gets negated, which means that Toad is able to negate the Fractal. And here I should win, right? Unfortunately, my opponent, being the god gamer he is, actually drew a second Fractal, so he's just going to play a Banish 4 and special summon Shrek. Shrek is going to come down and banish my field spell. Oh god, that's bad. If my field spell is in the graveyard, I have 3 different ways to get it back. I can get it back as Coral Anemone, Marincess Pascalis, or Marble Rock, but this is banished. So from this point onwards, the only way for me to get a second Battle Ocean is to use the effect of Sea Angel. Unfortunately, my only copy of Sea Angel is sitting here, equipped to Great Bubble Reef. So trying to get it off the field, I need to somehow make this Great Bubble Reef as a material to summon a second Great Bubble Reef, making sure that the Sea Angel goes to the graveyard where it can be recouped by Coral Anemone back into my extra deck, and then I can special summon it back to fetch a second copy of the field spell. Being tunneled on that was my second greatest mistake. I forgot that since Great Bubble Reef has a mandatory effect that gains 600 attack every time a card is banished, and it no longer has Battle Ocean protecting it, UDF can just negate and steal it, which unfortunately is exactly what happens here in a short moment. So during my draw phase, I'm going to activate the effect from my graveyard to try to bait out UDF. It's not going to happen, and unfortunately this effect is mandatory. It fires off, UDF triggers, negates the effect, steals Great Bubble Reef. Because it doesn't leave the field, my opponent gets my Boss Monster, and my Sea Angel is still stuck in my spell and trap card zone. I panic here and I fetch out a blue tank to try to go into Coral Anemone, which is my second biggest misplay, and I realized this the instant I plop it down. I summoned Coral Anemone in the wrong spot. Coral Anemone allows it to recoup a Marincess in the zone it's pointing to. Unfortunately, it's pointed down and left, which means that I can actually activate the effect of Coral Anemone to try to link climb. To link climb from here, I had to now give up Marbled Rock. I really should have summoned it back here or here. Anywhere but this spot. This misplay cost me my Lynx 3 Marble Rock rather, and I'm not going to be able to use it to recoup anything else. I do fire off the blue tank, search for a Pascalis in my hand, and that allows me to extend a little bit further, but I would have been fine without it. So now I activate the effect to link climb even more, giving up my Marbled Rock to make a second Great Bubble Reef. Because this didn't involve a Crystal Heart and because I didn't have a field spell, this boss monster is very pervious to destruction. But at this point, the only thing my opponent has that can really out this is Access Code Talker, and I'm willing to bet he's not going to go into this. I'm going to fetch back a wave for some protection, use Silent Sea Nettle to recoup some resources as well. Both copies of Great Bubble Reef fire off their mandatory effect, gaining 600 attack. My 600 attack matters slightly more because I'm going to use it to kill Shrek. He's going to use the effect of Shrek and fetch a Barrel Canary back from the graveyard into his hand, because he wants to go into more birds. Seeing that Barrel Canary, I'm relieved. It means he won't have Rugo into Access Code, so he is going to settle for a kill. On the standby phase, he's going to banish the Great Bubble Reef, doing exactly what I want, freeing my Sea Angel. I fire off Coral Anemone, immediately recoup my Sea Angel back into my extra deck. Now my opponent is looking to put out damage. UDF is out of material, so it can no longer negate anything. I draw an Infinite Impermanence that I can't activate, but I do have a Marincess Way, which is Impermanence but better. My opponent uses Barrel Canary, which means he once again cannot link summon for the rest of this turn, but he is intending to go into Assemble Nightingale for the kill. Board out decks usually run one Ensemble Blue and one is Assemble Nightingale. And for an Assemble Nightingale to OTK but above 7,000 life points, it needs to have 6 materials, and my opponent only has 4 free monster zones. And because he doesn't have another Wagtail in the graveyard, I'm pretty confident that this Nightingale won't actually kill me. And I was right, because he makes the Nightingale with only 5 materials due to missing a single Wagtail in the graveyard because of an improper activation of Bird Call. If he activated Bird Call early and just pitched a Wagtail, I would have died to this attack, but he did misplay here and missed lethal. He's going to summon Turquoise Warbler into Cobalt Sparrow, and that's going to make an Ensemble Blue Robin. Ensemble Blue Robin sits on the field with 2 materials, and that's going to be primed to negate my stuff. I'm perfectly content with waiting this out. And Ensemble Blue Robin hits the field. Now in the battle phase, the only thing he can attack with is the Assemble Nightingale. He's going to swing into my face 5 times for 6,000 damage. That is not lethal, and he is not going to be able to keep this bird for much longer. So I'm perfectly okay with letting this damage go through. In main phase 2, unfortunately, he's going to give up the Nightingale and going to downward into Zeus with 7 materials attached. That is not as scary as it seems, because I actually want him to Zeus this board. I can recoup my Great Bubble Reef, and I want him to lose that Ensemble Blue. He's going to fire off that, and I'm going to Marincess Wave on Utopic Draco Future in an attempt to bait out the Zeus activation. My opponent is too smart to fall for that. It's no skin off my back. I can just recoup the Marincess Wave like it's nothing. I just wanted to see if he react to that. Unfortunately for me, he didn't. So I banished Pascalis, get Wave back into my hand, and now I'm trying to see what I can do. I use Marincess Wave to try to negate Zeus rather, and Zeus is finally going to react to that. He knows everything's going to be gone anyway, so he pops the field, wiping my extra monster along with his Ensemble Blue, which I don't think is a good trade for him, but he did it anyway. Now, since Zeus has been negated by Marincess Wave, and Marincess Wave did resolve, so I'm impervious to all future possible destruction he can put out. Zeus's effects are negated anyway, so he can't stop what I'm trying to do. So now, once again combo, I recouped enough resources to go for it again, because Marincess' biggest claim to fame is his incredible amounts of recovery. I go into a Blue Slug yet again with a Blue Tang. I use Blue Tang to search. Blue Tang search here is once again optional. I don't need to do anything past this point. I have more than enough to win since I have Silent Sea Nettle in my hand. I do see another Blue Tang, and seeing the second Blue Tang means that I can actually extend a little bit further. So I summoned the Silent Sea Nettle, and instead of immediately going into Link 2, now that I have an extra water monster in my hand, I'm going to use this to instead go into Bahama Shark to recover my Totally Awesome. Both cards are fetched back by Silent Sea Nettle, because oh my god, Marincess just does not run, they do not run out of resources. I banish the Seahorse to special summon the Marincess Blue Tang, and finally get my Sea Angel out of the extra deck for a second time. I only run 1 copy of this thing, and getting it back into my extra deck was a hassle. I get my precious Field Spell back for the protection that I need, banish Sea Nettle to get Great Bubble Reef back into my extra deck because I do need my boss monster back. I activate the Battle Ocean and once again go into my old combo. I don't need to extend as far as I did the first time around because I still have a Crystal Heart in the graveyard and can just use Coral Anemone to revive it and then use it to go into Link 4. So now I'm sitting on Bahama Shark and I'm sitting on these 2 monsters. That allows me to once again go back into my full powered, fully protected boss monster. Now we'll take stock of my opponent has. My opponent's playing Bird Up, a deck that I'm very familiar with, despite forgetting that you can't target Recital. I know I'm going to out the Zeus here. I know I've already outed his Shureg, I've already outed his Utopic Draco Future, and I already outed his Assemble Nightingale. He has a single threat left in his deck, and that is Rugal into Access Code. So now I check his banner zone, and I see that he has a Fractal and a Nerval. In his graveyard, he is going to have 1 Nerval, 1 Kit, 1 Fractal, and 1 Caress. I know the normal Bird Art list usually runs 3 Nervals, 3 Fractal, 1 Kit, and 1 Caress, so I'm willing to bet he has 1 Nerval and 1 Fractal left in his deck somewhere. That means his only possible out, since I've beaten every single one of his threats, is to go into Rugal Access Code. So knowing that, I brace myself for the worst and try to out the Access Code with a single copy of Impermanence. If I can negate either Nerval or Fractal, victory is going to be assured. I fetch back Marincess Wave just to be absolutely sure that I can't die to any future follow-up. I equip whatever I want, including a Crystal Heart, because I don't think this will be lasting past this turn. Going into the end phase, my opponent gets turned back, and he is going to, after my Marincess fires off, to get a second wave, as silly as that is, use Foolish Burial to pitch that. And that tells me he's run out of resources, and I'm confirmed because he summoned a second Kit, which tells me he has 2 Kit, 2 Fractal instead of 1 Kit and 3 Fractal. So I know he's out of resources, my opponent knows he's out of resources. Kiss Effect pitches Revolt, and in battle phase, he is going to crash in with a Salamangreat Almirage and kill himself for a game. That is the end of the replay. I hope that was entertaining to you. I wanted to commentate this because this was a very back and forth game between a super meta deck and a not so super meta deck. Marincess really dies as soon as the field spell dies, and I'm surprised this duel lasted as long as it did. Here's my opponent, and here is currently me. My climb back to Platinum 1 is pretty slow as I only play 1 or 2 games a day with this deck, but I have a pretty decent win rate. I hope you enjoyed that. This was a very back and forth game, and honestly, if I didn't go first, I don't think my chances of winning this game were very high. But regardless, take care. Have a nice day.